My guest in this episode was one of the most successful independent music promoters in Southern California. And when I use those words, successful and independent music, I'm basically saying he didn't lose money putting on shows with local artists, and he didn't make them pay to play. Now, if you know anything about the music scene in Southern California, you'll know that's virtually unheard of. So, what's his secret? Honestly, it would be a cliche for me to say it was just one thing. In fact, it's better if you think about it as a kind of methodology, a method for creating a great experience for your audience months before your show even happens. Hell, maybe even all year round. Are you up to the challenge? Are you satisfied with just getting obligatory likes from your friends on social media in support of your music career? Or do you have the discipline to do something more? Before you answer, let's find out what something more really means, and let's hear it from someone who was a promoter for the House of Blues, a financial advisor, and one of the earliest music bloggers. Basically, this guy just knows what he's talking about. Say hello to the gig boss. So here we go.
Good to go.
Good to go. GB, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Vinay?
I'm doing all right. Looks like you're getting some sun. Sun is out today in sunny Southern California.
Yeah, I got a little bit of shade right now, just so we don't have glare over my quarantine white skin.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be a nice day.
Right on. No, you're looking handsome as ever. All right, here's why I wanted to have you on the podcast today. Venues are opening up. Seems like there's some excitement about live shows again. Of course, there's going to be some limitations and there's going to be some differences, due to how venues are now operating or required to operate due to COVID concerns, safety concerns, which is all good. But I thought it was a good time to get a little refresher for really everyone who's involved in the music industry. How can we take this situation and make it an opportunity to reconnect with our fans, grow our community? I couldn't think of a better person to talk about that than you, because you have a very interesting track record with making shows with local bands successful, not only in terms of people showing up, but actually making money, which is almost unheard of, right? And secondly, how you got involved in the promotion business is also a very interesting story. So let's maybe start with that. Give a little bit of your background and tell everyone how you got into this crazy industry.
Oh my God. Well, I got into it basically because, I retired from investment banking in 2007. Didn't have anything to do, didn't know what I was going to do with my life. Just knew that I didn't want to get up and go to work 5 days a week anymore, at least not for those guys. So, I've always loved music. When I was a kid, 13 and 14, really young, I sang in a group that, we had the pleasure of not only recording a couple of albums, one of which actually went into stores to be sold, but I got to perform at some really cool places. I got to sing at Dodger Stadium, for crying out loud. The Dorothy Chandler Pavilion at the LA Music Center, several times at Knott's Berry Farm in their big theater. I think it was the John Wayne Theater, and then it changed to the Good Time Theater. Anyway, big crowd events, and it was fun. And, I wasn't a good singer. I was just a cute kid. Obviously, that's gone. And once the cuteness left me, I was out. But, it was a great experience, and I'll never forget it. So, I figured, okay, I'm retired. I got all day long. I got a lot of memories. I'm a businessman. I understand money. I understand how to generate income and wealth. Let me combine these things and start writing a blog on the internet. And this was back in the MySpace days. So I just started writing a blog. Almost every day something would go out there. I also started introducing myself to a lot of the local venues and saying, hey, I want to help these young artists that are coming up. And my blog was ranked the 7th most popular music blog out there. So we were gaining a lot of traction. I wasn't doing much of anything with regards to shows. I would meet some local bands and I would give them some one-on-one mentoring and some advice. And a couple of times I helped a couple of what I thought were really good bands, get into some smallish venues. We're talking maybe 100 max capacity. Wasn't really setting up shows, just kind of helping them out. Well, I had been down at my condo in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico for a week. in 2010. And I come back and I check all my emails because I don't do anything down there, drink beer, and get some sun, which I obviously haven't been to Mexico for a while. But I come back and there's an email from House of Blues Anaheim, just out of the blue. And it basically said, would you like to do some shows for us? It's like, you got the wrong guy here. This is way above my stratosphere. But I also thought, you know what? I can do one or maybe two shows and help some really good local artists get the platform that they deserve, that they haven't been able to achieve yet for whatever reason. So I said, sure, I'll do a show for you. So I contacted some bands, the best that I thought, in my opinion, in the area that would want to do this, put together a lineup, 5 bands, and we did this thing. And to my surprise, it was packed. Now at the same time, between getting the band lineup and pulling off the show, I'm out doing old school promoting. I'm meeting people at bars, I'm handing out flyers, I'm putting up posters, I'm doing whatever it takes. And we had a packed house, and it was awesome. And I think it was a Tuesday or a Thursday night. So House of Blues shortly after said, hey, would you like to do another one? And anyway, that would you like to do another one thing went for 5.5 years, until they decided that they were going to move to the new House of Blues location in Anaheim off of the Disneyland property. And then the reason I haven't gotten back, multitude of issues, but nevertheless, it was a fun run. We did, about a show a month, and we had a blast. And I got a lot of really good artists the opportunity to perform, on a big stage with a professional crew in front of large crowds. And, that was the goal all along, and making people happy all around the board.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me ask a couple of questions. First of all, what was your criteria for choosing bands?
Number one, they had to be good. I mean, it's just like any business or service. You have to put out good product. Number one, people ain't going to buy it the first time. Number two, they're certainly not going to come back. So you got to have good product. So I had to like it. I mean, I honestly had to like what I was putting up there. Secondly, again, getting back to that repeat customer line of thought, the bands had to kind of mesh. There had to be a sort of cohesiveness. They didn't have to all sound exactly alike, but, I'd like to put together what I called the musical flow for the night. Whether it started out fast and worked towards a slow finish, or a slow finish and go to a fast finish, one band had to stair step into the next one somehow. We couldn't just go, reggae to country to jazz. That wouldn't work. But if there was some sort of flow, whether, melodic flow or instrumental flow, something that tied the one to the next, we could make it work. And my whole idea is, I wanted people to, be excited about the lineup, get there early so that they had a good spot and stay all night. And, if you're too far apart from where their happy place is, they're going to bolt, So, but yeah, find good bands, find a lineup that fits together, good product, and a reason for people to stay. Those were my main criteria.
All right. So here's another thing that I noticed, and this is, I think, part of what made your show successful. I thought you ran a very tight ship. You had an expectation for every artist that they were going to promote in a certain way. They were going to show up on time. They were not going to ask for, special favors, and they were not going to be told when they were going to be on the lineup, when their set was going to happen. All this was kept from them for a particular reason, and not to punish them, but to make them work harder. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, when I did my first show, I went to the box office at House of Blues, and I picked up the tickets for all the bands. And I said, hey, look, you're all going to meet me at such and such a place at such and such a time, so I'll give you your tickets. Well, I took that opportunity, number one, to introduce myself to these bands, because I didn't know any of them. I mean, I had done all this online. So introduced myself, handed them their tickets, and I said, look, some of you are probably really, really good at promoting your shows. Some of you not so good. And then somebody's always the least good. So, let me give you some tips right now. And I explained to them, again, old school, this is a people business. People remember you in person a lot harder and a lot longer than they'll ever remember your texts, your Instagrams. I don't even think Instagram existed when I started. Um, but it's a people business. Make friends with these people. Let them know they're coming to see a human being, not just spending their time trying to find entertainment. you know Ask them to connect with you. Say, hey, look, if you haven't seen our band before, come on out. Here's tickets. When we're done with our set, we'd love some feedback. Come meet us back at the merch table. you know we'd love to take a picture with you too. If you love our music, we always love to show off our new fans. Try to find that human connection. That's going to be a lot stronger than anything else you will ever build in your entire life. And I don't not just music, anything.
Yeah, totally right.
know?
Totally right. And especially now, I mean, now there's so many different social media platforms. I mean, just in 2019 and 2020, I read that 100 new social platforms were introduced into the market. You're competing against a lot of other noise. Everyone is trying to sell you something. Unfortunately, that's kind of what social has become in a lot of ways, right? Everybody thinks they're an influencer. So what you're saying makes a huge amount of sense. Use it to find new fans, use it to connect with people, message them, make friends with them. This is what I'm hearing. And I get those kinds of messages from my friends who are musicians, and it reminds me to look into what they're doing, keep update with them, go visit their page. What's their latest song? When are they playing a gig? You can't expect that even if you spend money on ads, that you're going to reach everybody that you want to reach. Because once again, you're competing not only with the other bands, you got to get down into the weeds and get out there. And as you say, make friends with people. That's where it all begins.
Yeah. And, actually one of my pet peeves, as I use social media and look through it, I see all these artists that are, fantastic artists. I mean, they really deserve, better than what they've got right now. I look at their social media posts and it's, listen to our music, new video drop and come to our show. They don't have any human element in there. They're hucksters. If you're building relationships, one human to another, as I believe you should, then, put some of your humanity out there too. One of the people that I believe does it best is Rich Juswick, who was actually the founder of, he founded Gemini Syndrome, ultimately left that band, started September Morning now. But he is out there and he promotes, on his social media, not only the band, but he talks about himself and his day-to-day life and, just what he goes through, issues with their tour van. I mean, his side gig. I mean, everything. He's, the way he likes to cook. He's a great chef, by the way. He continues to develop and nurture the human side of who he is as an artist. And, that draws you in. You want to see, what's going on in the life of Rich. Other bands, I click on their stuff, show, video, new CD, click right out.
So I think what you're saying can also be extended to all the bands that are in a lineup, right? Make connections with each other. Remember that this is a show that you're promoting. You're not just promoting your own, 30-minute slot, 45-minute slot. Don't tell people what time your set is. Tell them when the doors open. Tell them, what the drink specials are. Try and get them to be there all night. And you had a lot of great guidance around that. So let's kind of roll through those tips.
Yeah, it's like, if you went to a restaurant for lunch and there was a cheeseburger for $10, or over here, the daily special is a cheeseburger, fries, and a drink for $10, which one are you going to buy? You're going to go with the $10 or, the special with everything, because, you might not eat it all, but you have variety, you have value. A show is the same way. A lot of people, they might like your band, but they go, you know what? That's a bit of a drive, and parking is a hassle. And just for you, I'm kind of on the fence. But when you see these other bands, one of which they may or may not know, especially if you attach little clips, hey, here's a video of these bands, check them. They might just go, that's a good band. I'd like to see them too. Now the value just went up. Still the same price at the door, you know? So, sell them on something. And yeah, you're absolutely right. If there's drink specials, some people go to shows so they have an escape to, relax and have a cocktail. There's a multitude of reasons, but give them as many as you possibly can and let them pick the one that makes sense for them. Push everything hard, always tie together. Far more bands that are well known, world famous, international traveling bands came up on the backs of another well known international, world famous band than just by themselves. So you get to know the people you're playing with, you maintain the friendships and relationships with these people. And if one of these other bands that you did this show with starts, their astronomical climb, and they remember, hey, these guys are really cool guys. Let's see if they want to go on tour with us. Boom, you might have the coattail you need, So don't ever turn down an opportunity to get big, and don't ever push away an opportunity to help somebody else get big by supporting them like you hope they'll support you.
Oh, absolutely. This is exactly how the whole Seattle scene exploded. There were these guys who were a bunch of friends who played in each other's bands. They went to each other's shows and they created their own scene. They created a phenomenon. And I don't think I've seen that replicated anywhere yet, but it can be done. Why couldn't it be done in your own neighborhood?
Yeah. I mean, it takes effort. It takes time. Don't just go to the venues and support those bands. Introduce yourself to the management at the venue while you're there. Drop off a CD and a card if you got one. You better have one. This is a business. Run it professionally like a business. Be prepared to meet people that can move you up the ladder. Always expect it's going to happen. It may not happen but once in a blue moon, but be prepared for it.
Oh, absolutely. So now let's focus a little bit more on your role, your perspective, and what advice you would have, not just for bands, but for other promoters and venues and people who are involved in putting the show together. Tell me how you think you operated differently than others, and how are you able to make these shows with local bands profitable? Not just not lose money, but they were profitable. That was a huge deal. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I think, I'm a little bit different in that, I never thought of a show paycheck to paycheck. It was never about putting money in my pocket. It was always about doing the best job for, the trifecta that I was working for. And, the trifecta is, the venue management, obviously, they're having me do this to make money. Number two, the bands, they want to, create some traction in their careers, sell some merch, have a great show, and three, and probably most importantly, the customers, the people coming in to see the bands, the fans, the people that have never heard of the bands. I had to make all three of those factors happy. I think band expectations, number one. Everybody wants to be the headliner. I tried to find the best possible bands that I could. And, when you think you're big stuff, you want the prime slot. Well, here's the deal. I'm putting a show together with 5 bands. And in my mind, all 5 of them are headliners. So you're going to play where I'm going to put you. If you don't like those terms, I'll find someone else. I guarantee it. Lots of bands want to play House of Blues. Whenever I had to say that, and it wasn't often, I would usually get the, okay. And then, like I said, I like to create that musical flow. And that's why I told them, look, I'm going to put you where it makes sense. Trust me, it's all about creating a big show. So you trust me, I'll trust you to come out and do your job, and we'll have a great night. And I was a little tough, tough love. That's the way I was raised. And I kind of gave it back to these guys. You're going to follow my rules. You're going to follow the house rules. If you need anything, if anything needs to happen, if you want something when we're at the venue, it goes through me. I will take care of it. I will run it down. I will make it happen. Your job is to sit in the green room, eat the cookies that I brought you, relax, prepare, and get ready to just sweat your guts out on stage for 45 minutes when it's your turn. Give these people the best show you guys have ever played. And I got more comments after the shows from the bands on exactly that. They say, you know what, this is the best show we've ever played, you know, and I like to attribute to the fact that they didn't have to worry about the small stuff while they were there. You know, it was all taken care of. You know, I'd be the one. I would be the go get it boy. You know, it didn't matter to me. I didn't care. I'd do anything, for successful result. Um, but again, you step out of line, I'll bite your head off. I don't have a problem with that either. I'm an old guy. I've lived through too much. Um, I've got a kid. I've got grandkids, for God's sakes. So, dealing with petulant teenagers, I have experience. And, the one way you shut them down is you cut them off at the knees. So I would not have a problem with that. One band had a family member that wanted to sit in VIP seating for free. And HOB security told me this was going on. I went up there. I said, no, it's not going to happen. And she's going, well, my brother's band, blah, 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 blah. I said, look, your brother's band is opening and I can make them leave. I will have the second band play 2 sets. Okay. You can leave and your brother can play, or you can sit and your brother can leave. She left, and they told me afterwards, no hard feelings, just got excited in the moment. Well, there you go. And thankfully, the brother was there when I was saying this. He's going, sis, get out, get out, get out. So, they played a great set and they thanked me. And, but yeah, I'm tough. And again, it's creating an overall product that people want again. The packaging has to be good. The delivery has to be, everything has to be right on. And if you do that, and while the bands are playing, I'm not standing up there being fanboy. I'm going out there talking to people in the crowd. I'm finding people at the bar in between sets and talking to them. How did you like that one? Is this your first Gig Boss show? If I had tickets for the next show and I was getting some favorable feedback, boom, I'd bless them with more tickets. And a lot of those people I'd see again. So you make the connection, you maintain the connection. You get the feedback. You want to talk to people that you've never seen at your shows before. There's always something you can do better, and sometimes somebody else's ears or eyes can help you point it out. So, keep the communication lines open.
Yeah, I think everything you're saying is going to be hugely important. I think right now there's a lot of optimism about venues opening up again. Of course, there's going to be some differences. There's going to be some criteria for entering, as you probably read about, health checks and this and that. So we don't know just what that's going to look like. I think everything you're saying is going to be even more important now than it was 2 years ago. Make sure you're creating an experience starting from the very first contact and get people excited about getting out to a venue again and living life and enjoying music.
Yeah, absolutely. And, as the doors open, I think you're going to have kind of a different sort of fan that's coming out. You're going to have your normal people that you would see at that show for that band. But I think you're going to have a new crowd that's going to some of these things just for the pure sake of getting the heck out of the house. Okay. And I think this is prime opportunity for bands to utilize that, to make those new fans, to go meet new people, buy disposable gloves. If there's people that are phobic about this thing, have your mask, get some disposable gloves. Make sure you have something that you can hand out. Hey, here's our band business card, or if you're partial to giving out CDs, something. But meet these people, and it might take, again, it takes a lot of work. And my God, I don't know who's got the desire or the stamina to work hard, but that guy's going to win. That guy is going to win. And I think the best example of it, a few years back, Adele had the #1 selling album in the United States with something like 11 million copies sold. So, this meant that, of 320 million, 309 million people didn't like her. Remember that when you're going out and making new fans. 309 million people didn't like Adele. 11 million did, and she was a top seller. It takes volume, it takes persistence. You got to meet people, and if you make them happy, they will tell their friends. If you make somebody happy through social media, they might share a post, but the personal connection those are the people that, they bring their friends to shows, they post on Yelp. Whenever the human experience is involved, it's a lifetime memory. Make them.
Absolutely. Right on. Awesome. Sorry, man. Today was not a good day for me to be talking in this interview, so I'm glad I'm having it with you.
Yeah, get me started. I could talk forever.
Yeah. No, it's all good. It's all good. Right on. So great words of advice, and I'm gonna just close it out now. All right. So that's. Is there anything you want to promote before we head out? You want to promote your websites or anything like that?
Nah.
No? Okay.
Nah, I'm fishing. I'm in fishing mode. I ain't promoting Gig Boss Presents or anything.
Okay. Let me just ask that question, and then you can give that same answer if you like. All right. So GB, can we expect some more Gig Boss shows coming up?
I'm gonna put a hard maybe on that. It's been a few years. When House of Blues Anaheim made the move, they ended up going with the people that apparently they're happy with. Then COVID hit. So that ate up a year of my life. In the meantime, I decided, it's time to scratch some things off my bucket list. So I bought a house in North Carolina. Actually already been offered an opportunity to create some shows out there with a gentleman that he actually is breaking ground right now on a 5-acre site that'll have restaurants, bars, indoor and outdoor music venues.
Wow. Cool.
So, I haven't said I'm going to take him up on it. I'm going to meet him when I get there. He owns a brewery, so I'm going to definitely get to know him. At least that much. Right. I don't know. Life's a mystery, man. You don't win the prize if you don't take the risk. So I'm taking some risks, and I'm going to see what kind of prizes I win.
Right on. Well, if you do come back, or even before you leave, if we could do a show together again, I would really enjoy that, and it would be a fun time.
I will give it some serious consideration. Right?
Right on. Okay, GB, it was great talking to you again. You enjoy your afternoon in the sun, and we will catch up with you maybe when you're in North Carolina.
Yeah, come on out, man. You're welcome. We got a guest room, and it's great chatting with you. Good seeing you again. You look fine. You look like you've been out in the sun a little bit. You enjoy there you go.
I'm ready. I'm ready to get out. Place. I've been sneaking out. I'm working on my tan.
Okay. Right, you enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for having me.
You too, man. Thank you. Take care.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.